Good morning. Morning, everyone. Hopefully, hello, Evo. I see you. I think you're talking, but I didn't hear you.
Hey, Joe. Good morning to you. How
Hey,
it goes?
there you go. All right. So hopefully everybody had a good Monday. A lot of stuff going on in the markets. Big gap down yesterday morning, and we closed that gap very quickly, or somewhat quickly. I'll recap that trade. I took no trades yesterday. Being Monday and waiting for the first half hour, the move happened in the first 5 minutes. So let's recap that. So this is what I'm looking at today. Obviously, the stock futures are falling. Iran war escalation, oil, energy stocks. This is a great trade whenever some unrest happens. Obviously, oil and energy stocks rise. Gold, silver futures are jumping. Before the market opened, Best Buy had good earnings. As far as the economic calendar, there are no events that I am looking at, especially at 9:45 or 10 a.m. Like I said, BMO, before market open, we had Best Buy, also Target. I did not look at what Target did. Target can have an effect because it's a lot of consumer spending. And after market close, CrowdStrike. So let's bring the trading view chart over. Let's look at everything one at a time. Again, if you're new, I do not trade the open, so I often do this analysis in the morning, 9:15. It's part of the reason why I do it at 9:15, and I'm still doing it at 9:30. I started doing that probably a year ago, just to avoid trading the open. I got chopped up for years. I had some great successful trades, but generally speaking, from my type of trading, the market hasn't chosen a direction yet. And like Avi said just recently, I heard him say, I don't remember where it was, one of his videos, I think. For our type of trading, it's a good idea to know who's in control. Don't know where the market's going, but we want to know who's in control. And I often don't know that in the first 5-10 minutes. So anyway, here we go. I'm on the 30-minute. I often look at the 4-hour to figure out a general trend. I was doing some teaching with stuff over here, but let's go back to the 30-minute. And where we are right now, where price is right now, we gapped down on Apple this morning, but we closed that gap. If you look at a 5-minute, it looks like a gap down and retest. So we gapped down, retested it, and moved lower, but we are making higher lows. So as far as Apple is concerned, I'm not interested until or if it makes its way down to the lows again. I want to see that there is support at this level. As far as anything higher, there's no room to the left, which is why I am not looking at. I'm not looking at much on the buy side higher. On the buy side lower, if we take out liquidity down here, I will be interested or could be interested depending on the setup. So I am going to put an alert down here because it might not happen right away. But I want to see, do we come and take out liquidity at the low here and then possibly put in a double bottom from the highs of yesterday? Or do we take out the lows from yesterday? That is what I'll be looking at in the first, or whenever, if and when it happens. AMD, very similar. We gapped down, did not close the gap like we did on Apple. Apple, from yesterday's close, we gapped down, but we have closed that gap already. On AMD, we have not. All these rectangles here are fair value gaps on the 30-minute. So we've got a big gap down here. I'd be looking at very similar situation on AMD. If it comes down, puts in a strong hammer, or what I like to call from naked trading, kangaroo tail at the bottom, I might be interested. Amazon, 30-minute, same thing. There's no room to the left on the higher side for my trading. This was a strong level of possible support over here, over here, over here, over here. But then that was from yesterday. But then this morning we broke down below it. So I'm curious to know, is this still strong support? We'll see after the open. Again, no room to the left on the higher side. Google, a big gap down this morning. I actually checked to see if there was news on Google, because when I started looking at it, it was around 5 a.m. and it started showing some support here on the 30-minute, 2 indecision candles here. And then it seemed like the bulls had won that pre-market battle. But I'm curious to see what happens down here. I do have an alert already set. Again, nothing to the top, unless a lot of people like to see the closing of this gap. A lot of people might be seeing Google at a discount right now. So there might be a lot of interest at the open, but we'll see what happens in the first half hour. Meta's just been a disaster lately. There was this range here that we touched into in pre-market yesterday. It could become interesting again. I will set an alert, but like I've said many times, I don't often trade Meta. Microsoft, I find, has been very similar, very choppy up and down. If it were to come and make new lows from the low of pre-market here, it might be interesting to look at. I will set an alert down at the lows of pre-market, but I'll have it on my 5-minute chart at the open as well. Now, NVIDIA was surprising yesterday, gap down, and then in the first, I think it was in the first 5 minutes, first 5-minute candle, it was this massive move on NVIDIA, and then it's just kept chopping up yesterday, pulled back pre-market this morning, and is just chopping in a range right now. So for me, it would have to come down to the lows here and show a lot of support here. And at the tops, if it made a new high over here, few things could happen. It could break out above here and then retest, or it could reject this level as it did yesterday. But that was not a very strong rejection yesterday. I'll leave it on the 5. Tesla on the 30. Tesla, I've gotten alerts set already at the lows of yesterday. As far as Tesla is concerned, we have not been here since the beginning of February. So this level here, I like putting a rectangle over here, and then I've got one a little bit lower as well, as even a larger area of support or possible support. Again, on the 30-minute, I've got my alert set. Actually, it should be a little bit higher than that. There we go. I want to start looking at it, because if the alert is set right there and I'm not at the computer, it could take out that liquidity and reverse right from there. And that is what I'm possibly looking for. Now, Qs and SPY are very interesting, because they are at a they're getting close to a long-term area of support, which was way back here, beginning of February. I say that because, just go like this and zoom in. Once we made this low, there is a very, very big move to the buy side. We put in some very large fair value gaps over here, which means that we gapped up in a strong fashion. So this is a strong area of support, but we're not there yet. I do have an alert here that I've set a while ago. If the Qs were to come down around S6 here and show a lot of support, this is the type of trade that I would take long. Because it would have to show my signals, either a double bottom or a kangaroo tail with a lot of momentum on the buy side. It showed it yesterday at the open. If it happens in the first 5 minutes, then I won't be interested. But that is what I'm looking for. However, if it breaks down, it could be a move lower. But personally, I find this as a very large area of support at 588. So it'll be a game day decision. Very similar scenario in SPY. However, we're a little bit closer to our lows of the beginning of February in SPY. That was at 670.93 exactly. I do have an alert set just below S6 here because that is where I'm going to start looking at it. If it takes out liquidity from the pre-market over here, it could bounce from here or it could break down lower. So that's what I've got for higher time frame. Once the market is open, I'll be switching over to the 5 minute, and that's where I like to see my pattern set up. If you have any questions about my patterns, please don't hesitate. We like looking at gold as well. I have set up a new type of. I've put the wicks in white to try to add emphasis to the wicks because that is where we can see where a lot of buying occurred or selling at the top. We can tell. So hopefully you can see it properly on your screen. But I like seeing the wicks in the same color across the board. So I've put it white for now. I like how it looks right now, but not quite sure how it looks on your end. And if there's something you want me to look at, please don't hesitate. I'm going to look at gold. Yesterday's move seems to be reversing. I'll take these lines out. And I was going to look at oil as well. There we go. So oil, we're moving up again. I don't know if anybody has taken an oil trade, but as soon as the market's opened at 6 p.m. on Eastern time on Sunday, it opened. Is that it? Yeah, it opened way up here, came down, and then started moving up. And then when the market opened yesterday, put in this 4-hour indecision candle. So I don't know if these are, look at these. That's a nice move up. And again, today, possibly finding resistance up here. Yeah. Or it could be just retesting. If it broke down below 75.35, we might be retesting this gap over here. But with geopolitical tensions the way that they are, I would have no idea how to trade this. Yeah, I guess we can look at this. The what worked yesterday, and market open in 30 seconds. Good luck to whoever's trading the open. The only thing that I saw yesterday, which would have been difficult to take because it happened in the first 5 minutes. So let's zoom in here to yesterday. So this was the range pre-market. We broke out and then retested that level. Anything above S3 yesterday. The break of S3 here with the follow through would have been a 3-hour profitable trade right over here. So this is something that worked yesterday. I I didn't take it. I was being very cautious, and I'm going to, because it was Monday and there was so much news happening, I'm going to be doing very similarly today. So let's look at the 5 minutes. There we go. And there. Now I wait and see. There's a lot of red generally across the market. MU down 7%. CoreWeave down 4. Baba down 5. AMD down 3.3.
Palantir, big spike.
DLTR. What am I gonna take off here? PLTR. There you go. Yep. PLTR just getting to PDC. My watch is going off. MU down. What else? Baba down 5%. Piton 52-week low. DSM, Taiwan Semiconductors is down. What is Lockheed? Lockheed Martin LMT, I think. Yeah, so it gapped up massively on in pre-market on Sunday. Sorry, Monday, I should say, Monday 4 a.m. Gapped up and then pulled back, closed that gap or very close to it. Now it's just chopping. I have never traded LMT. Just interesting to look at. Microsoft. Here we go. And this was better. See, this is my strategy here on NVIDIA. If it were to put in a kangaroo tail. However, I haven't back tested this, the room to the left here. Right? Theoretically, when we say room to the left is because the market hasn't been there in a while. Well, there is a gap here, right? We have to go back to yesterday around this time, and it definitely seems to be rejecting this area. So interesting candle formation on NVIDIA. I personally will not take it. Like I said, I have not back tested it, and it being the first 5 minutes, that's quite a difficult wick to trade. There will be opportunities. I want to avoid the mistake I made on Friday of taking a trade just because I felt like I had to. That was not my setup on Friday. Those that were here, my recording did not work, unfortunately. I explained it in the Discord that my laptop ran out of memory and it stopped recording. I've cleaned it up. I actually wiped it, and that should not happen again. Yeah, I'm going to show it. If it happens, I'm going to show the strategy. Whoops, let's let it happen. If it breaks down with the low of 177.99, let's look at NVIDIA. There you go. So just below 178. Does it break below 178? I am not taking this, but the strategy would be aiming for the low here. Where would you put a stop? Because the wick is way up there. So it would be a difficult trade to take. Again, when this type of candle prints, my strategy works especially well when the move happens right after. Like it closes here and then makes a new low. So that when that happens, that's almost an automatic entry for me. Similar candle formation on Qs and SPY. Similar formation on Amazon, but it did not take out pre-market liquidity here. On NVIDIA, it did. Did the candle print low 178.04? It has not broken below 178 yet. And by yet, I mean it might not.
Gilles, I'm also looking at RCAT. That's RCAT. It's in the defense industry. They had a big pop at the open. I think RCAT and Palantir are sort of in the same boat here.
Yeah, I've never heard of RCAT. What do they do?
They're in the defense industry. I think they're related to drones, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
So
up 11%, 12%. Wow. Oh, it's yeah, from the close at 1370 up to 15 and change. Yeah, interesting. Interesting that it's at yesterday's high. Right, gapped up. What does it do right here? This is a very interesting level. Right, there it goes.
Yeah.
What it does next will be very interesting. Curious to see what level it's at on the cams. RCAT, Red Cat Holdings. Yeah, just above R4. And RCAT, very strong book, very large orders at 16. Print screen here to slow it down. 1590, 51,000 shares, 53,000 shares at 16.
But I'm just I'm sitting on my hands this week. I broke my rules the other week, and I'm like, no, I got to do something drastic. I got to burn the FOMO out of me. So
Yeah,
I'm learning how to sit on my hands and expand my patience.
it is the most difficult thing in trading, I think. I'm not going to say I was not a very patient person, but trading has developed a patience in me that that's just wasn't present before. I am way more patient now than I used to be. And a lot of it has to do with being able to, look at the charts and and see that, you know what, whatever is forming right now, there's going to be other opportunities later on. The thing with the open is that the moves are so exaggerated. Like I said on Nvidia here, where do you put a stop on something like that? And we haven't really determined yet which direction we're going. It's only been 10 minutes. So yeah, good for you, man, for you know, slowing it down and realizing that you need more patience. Do you have like a written rule where you say if you break X amount of rules and you have to sit out for a day or a week? Or
Yeah, and pretty much I just said, well, it's kind of a unwritten rule that I said, well, if I do this kind of trade again, then I got to stop. And so I took kind of like almost like revenge trading, a couple of trades. It was nothing horrible, but just the fact that I did it, I was like, no, I gotta stop here. And so I literally all last week didn't even open up my montage, didn't trade at all.
yeah, oh, I
And
noticed you weren't around.
huh?
I noticed that you were not around last week. Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
decided,
started
no, I gotta
conversation.
stop. And I did physical stuff, and I was reviewing some notes and things that I had, and I was looking at my plan, and I further kind of tucked up my plan here. Simple checkbox, check the boxes, and because this is what I want to do, and I don't want to take any discretionary trades either. So I just want my particular setup, and if it doesn't appear today, forget it. You know, it'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, talk about checklists.
Yeah, but I'm trying to keep it a simple checklist. Very few boxes that I need to check. So,
Yeah,
but working on the 5-minute chart definitely slows things down, gives me way more data points. And yeah, there's no reason for me to have FOMO because, like you said, the opportunity is there if I'm just patient enough. And like you and Avi and other people in our community, it's kind of more about forget the scalping and going for the trend where you can make a lot of R.
yeah,
And that's what I'm all about
yeah.
these days.
If you don't mind me sharing, what has helped with me is um, especially when it's in the first little one. Let's go to a 5-minute. Here's my trading view. As far as the charting is concerned, trading view is so much better. I mean, it's so much easier to see the ranges. But anyway, what has helped is taking sim trades. Right? Just if I've got FOMO, then you know what? If it were to break down here, where would it be? Where would it have gone? Right? I'll look. You know, I'll do this. I'll put it on there, and there's no money risk, and then it goes into my journal as a back test, forward test, whatever you want to call it. Or in DOS, you can do it within Sim, but that was part of my learning as well of just taking more sim trades. But then just being, I mean, I've got 3 setups per side, so really 6. And if it's not right, I don't take it. And I say I don't take it. I did it on Friday, but even when I took it on Friday, I said, oh, I'm just doing it in the equities. I'm not going to do it on options because it's basically not meeting my rules. Well, that I said it myself. I said it live that it's not meeting my rules. Why waste an R on it? And so I still make mistakes.
It's the need for constant vigilance, right?
Yeah, vigilance with yourself, you mean? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Only like this is the trade I'm going to take, and if it
yeah,
doesn't set up, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know that you're not always going to get an A+ setup, but if it's in the zone, then I'll take it. But
yeah,
otherwise, no, because you know I think the more that I trade, I think I don't know. I guess I speak for myself. The more that I trade, the more risk I put on the table, and I'd rather take fewer trades and load up the boat more in fewer trades that have a higher probability. I'd rather do that than take more trades and more risk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So AMD is approaching an area of interest. Pre-market low and yesterday low. So this is, it would be an area to start looking at. How it reacts out of this will gauge whether I'm going to get involved or not. Right? If it's in an area, let's draw a rectangle here. Right? It's in this area here. So what does it do on the outskirts of this area? Right, it wicked up. It's hard to see the wick here. I'm trying to change it on DOS, but to be honest with you, I don't remember how to change the color of the actual wick. I tried to do it right before in pre-market, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'll have to go back. DOS is it's not obvious where to, and if anybody's out there that can guide me through it, I don't remember if it's in chart area, config area. I don't see my colors there anywhere. So anyway, I want to change the wicks to make them white in here as well. But as far as AMD is concerned, it's in a zone right now. It's in a rectangle. So inside of here, not interested. Q is very similar.
Yeah, stay out of the chop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see something if I'm to the long side above VWAP, and I'm trying to focus more on my trading these days to enter long under VWAP, but I'm looking for that pop and curl. Like right now, RCAT is pop and curling, but the profile, like I wouldn't take this long. It didn't pull back enough for me, and like Palantir's pulled back too much. Because I like to use Fibonacci too to help give me an idea. Well, how far back is it pull? How far deep is the pullback? And
there we go.
But that's ideally, I want to see kind of a pop and curl, a bit of a pullback, but that it's still showing that the buyers are in sort of control and that they're going to be jumping back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like when stuff's kind of in a range, for me, no, I guess you could play it, but for me, no, I don't want to. I want to stay clear of that.
Yeah. Did we take out 16? Yeah, we did. Took out those orders on RCAT at 16. PLTR looks like a very good candidate for the breakout and retest. Right, it was in this range this morning. Here, let me put it on TradingView. Let's go to the 5-minute. There we go. So it was in this area this morning. Opened here, came down here, but the actual range right, was here. Broke out, went to yesterday's close, which was right here, just above. He's pulling back. How it reacts right here is interesting. Right, and for a breakout and retest, it would have to go. What's this? TQQQ down 6.2%. Because the Qs are down 2, SPY is down 2. So for the break and retest to work out, has to be consolidating within a range. I don't like it when that range is all in pre-market, but for now, that's what we're looking at. And the breakout needs to be on a very strong bullish candle. That's on the 5-minute time frame. So it broke out. Now it's retesting this area. It would have to show strength soon. And to show strength, it would have to print a bullish 5-minute candle. And then on the break of that bullish 5-minute candle with momentum, it could possibly be a long on PLTR.
Could be.
Yeah.
The nice thing about Palantir is when I look at the volume profile on the last 3 5-minute candles, we have decreasing selling volume on it, so it's kind of staircasing down. So it'd be interesting to see if we see some sort of hammer
On volume or volume profile?
So volume, yeah, just volume. Yeah.
Volume, okay.
Mine reads a little bit different than yours, but yes, I'm kind of seeing a staircase down.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see here if we see some sort of reversal sign on the 5-minute engulfing or a hammer formation, maybe.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up in a minute. SPY just touched the pre-market low, and on SPY, if I'm not mistaken, it was right at S6. Yeah, right on the dot at S6. So let's bring it up here. All right, so S6 pre-market low here was the 672.19. This was 672.25, so 4 cents above. Interesting area on SPY. SPY is in a rectangle as well. So what it does here could be very interesting. Approaching my half hour. Kangaroo tail is printing over here. This is not my setup unless it's on a higher time frame double top. But this candle right here could be a kangaroo tail. For my setup, it's not, because as far as the wick is concerned, it was just there this morning. It wicked up, so there's no room to the left because there are buyers and sellers right over here. It seems to be more sellers than buyers. Got a triple top here on the 5-minute on Google, right at pre-market high, as well as what was that, yesterday's low. I'm definitely rejecting this area, but it's within the rectangle. Right, if I were to draw a rectangle here, right, we're just chopping inside this rectangle. Now, if it had wicked up above and there was room to the left, and like I said, as far as back testing the gap here, I have not done. But if it wicked up above and put in a kangaroo tail, then I will trade into this rectangle and aim for the low of the rectangle.
On Palantir, we have sort of an inverted hammer kind of information in the last 30 seconds here. Let's see if it closes green or red, and we... For me, an inverted hammer portends a potential reversal, but it still indicates a bit of selling pressure. So...
Yeah, I know. I usually see an inverted hammer as a bearish candle. It wicked up and we could not find buyers.
Yeah, closed red.
Right? It closed green on TradingView on the 5-minute. That's funny, eh?
Yeah, mine it closed red.
Yeah. So I mean, it's neither here nor there because it's the open and the close are so close.
Yeah.
Right here, a lot of people would short on a new 5-minute low from the previous candle. However, it's inside this choppy range and it's not dropping very quickly. Right? And there's not a lot of volume. So a lot of people would take it along here. Again, not trading advice. I'm just saying that if it takes out a low and doesn't continue, depending on the 1-minute, if it breaks a new 1-minute high, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people jumping in. Unless it starts making new lows. And if it does make new lows, then it's likely to make it down to the bottom of the range. Right? So on the 1-minute, the rejection up here could have been an entry for some people. All right, rejecting at the central pivot range, which was close to yesterday's close. So many strategies and possibilities. R-Ball seems pretty high on SPY Qs, Tesla, NVIDIA, Meta. Low on Apple. Seems to be chopping in a range. I am going to put the SPY calls on my screen just to see how they react to the low of day. So we have not breached the low of pre-market, which was 672.20. This candle was 672.25. Again, not jumping in, not doing anything. I just want to see what happens here. So let's put SPY back on the tape. SPY's at the bottom, but Qs still has a ways to go to get the pre-market low. Tesla making new lows. Uh, 388.25. All right, so 10 printed. And very choppy action in SPY at this level. Definitely could be a strong move. However, it does not meet my criteria. NVIDIA on the 5-minute making higher lows. Are we going to make higher highs?
Palantir might be potential for a bounce. The last 5-minute candle on my chart closed red. It's a hammer. It closed at the SMA 50 level on the 5-minute chart, and we had a big spike in volume there. So
LTR, oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I see that big spike in volume there with sort of like a red hammer looking on my end, but it's kind of sandwiched between the 50 and the 200 SMA and the 5-minute chart. So, and the VWAP is above it. I don't know.
What I don't trust here is when you see a massive candle like this that has absolutely no body to the actual candle. So look at the volume candle. Look at how much volume there was. And this is the candle right here that it formed. Theoretically, you would think if there's so much buying, price would be going up. So what happened here? Why did we have all this massive volume, but absolutely no body to the candle? Personally, I don't trust this move as a going higher, because you would think, look at this volume here. These first two candles here, a lot of volume and big candle. So when we see a massive candle like this, it's often a fake, often, not always, not trading advice. I know I got to stop saying that. Obviously, you guys know that, I'm just sharing my experience and information here. But anyway, I don't trust it going long, personally, just because of this massive candle and printed a tiny little green candle.
You're right. It's kind of more, it really should be viewed as an anomaly that you've got a ton of volume.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
It's like a Wyckoff's rule, right? In order to move a price, you need movement or energy. I forget the exact quote, but
yeah, absolutely. And same with Anna Cooling, right? Anna Cooling says it's when you see a massive candle like this and then an anomaly like this, and then two candles lower, we see a reverse hammer like this. Right. This is in naked trading. This is called a trendy kangaroo. Right. It's a kangaroo tail. The tail is 2/3 of the candle. The body of the candle is within the range of the previous candle. This could potentially be a continuation short signal. So if we had taken it short, see, this is what I mean right there. Stop right above the wick or even right above S4. And then where is 3R? 3 is right there. There you go. So my signal on SPY just came. Let's look at this later. I don't trade the kangaroo tail unless I'm already in a trade. Then it's a potential area to add into my position. But similar candle forming on SPY right now. Right, so the trend, a very short-term trend, seems to be going lower, and then we tried to push up, but we're not pushing up. And if this closes, actually it will close right now. If it had closed right near the bottom and then made a new low, that would be, for me, a very strong selling signal. But again, I don't get into positions over here on this candle. If I was already short, let's say it had a a kangaroo tail at the open with a tail up here, and I had been short and I was holding here, I would not be selling. I would either be adding into the position or, looking for the further move down. On SPY, what would get me involved is a liquidity sweep lower. This is not, it's not enough momentum. Okay, but pre-market low, and then we got to go pretty far back to see the last time we were here. Let's go to the 30-minute. There we go. So this is the one that was at the beginning of February. Yeah, interesting level right now.
I always find that it's interesting, Gilles, when the pickers that I look at, they completely mirror like the SPY, like you were in the Qs too,
Yeah.
which you were mentioning a few minutes earlier. You see that inverted hammer on the 5-minute chart. I could see it on Palantir, AMD.
Yep.
And even the volume profile too, it's very similar. So it just lends more credence when they kind of focus on the bigger picture for me. When I see the SPY or the Qs making a particular move, they're going to take the kids out for a ride. So then that gives me much more conviction in a trade for my setup. Like, oh, this is like an A+ setup because the overall market's moving in this direction. So I'm just going to ride this wave.
Yeah, no, they're all correlated, right? I mean, the SPY and the Qs have these tickers in them, right? So they're not always going to be perfectly correlated, but when they are, like right now, we're at the low of day on SPY, but we're not on Qs, right? So do I want to take a reversal here when we haven't tested the bottom here on Qs yet? Not necessarily. I would not be surprised to see the Qs come and retest this level here. There are buyers down here. So the market maker, the algos are going to try to go get these orders over here. However, this is a very interesting area on SPY. As far as interesting, I mean, it could break down lower, or we could start seeing some buying. So that's what we mean by this level. Right? It's a level of interest. Definitely a level of interest on NVIDIA. We can see that we've been chopping around here. That's a lot of red. Right? Are we going to reverse and go green? I don't know. I have a hard time believing that. But again, I'm not going to decide because of this. I'm going to wait to see what the chart tells me. Because I've seen it happen where you're completely red like this, and then there is a reversal. And the market has been strong. Right? So we might see some large players decide that, you know what, we're getting involved here. And if that happens, we can absolutely see a reversal and some buying. Yeah, look at that ladder coming down. Right? See that? Let's go back to PLTR here. The other reason that I liked this sim trade here that I put in, right, did this massive volume candle with no body on the price candle. And then 2 candles later, we put in this reverse hammer, this kangaroo tail, or trendy kangaroo, as Naked Trading calls it, Naked Forex, I should say. We are making lower highs. On the break of this, which is where my entry is, right here on this fake trade, I need to say it again, aiming for 3 to 1. The other thing that I like about it is that it was showing weakness below S4, and it's within this range. So if my take profit here, I would probably move it up just to be right above the bottom of the range here. And again, it could not work, as right now we're seeing some buying in PLTR. But I'm going to leave it there, because once I'm in something, I leave it. On equities, I should clear that up, because on options, I will manage the trade because of time decay. But on equities, most of the time, it's -1R or +3 or more. I don't know if anybody's trading futures. What happened to that oil trade? Still on the 30-minute, chugging along, making new highs, higher lows. Gold, oh, that was a big drop. Yeah, that was a big drop pre-market. And
Looks like SPY and Qs might be trying to
find a bottom here.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I see a lot of I don't know, and Gilles, let me know what you think, but like when you see a lot of inverted hammers within a sort of a somewhat consolidation range, don't you view that as maybe the market's testing future interest? It's just not ready to go there yet. And
yeah, let's look at these right here, right? I mean, it's a lot of things that it could be. It could be the fact that we are trying to get up there and we can't find buyers. So the market needs to bring the price lower to find buyers. Or it might be people just smashing the bid and forcing the price lower, right? And just not lifting the bid. You know, they're willing to buy, but they don't want to buy higher. And there might be some large orders down here that the market maker wants to go get. I see this as selling. I do not see this as bullish at all. But there's a battle. There's a battle over here. We're not closing near the bottoms. That's the way that I see it.
I'm looking at a volume increase on the SPY just a little bit right now. Views almost there, not quite.
How's the weather in Southern California?
Oh, don't want to rub it in, but it's absolutely beautiful here. We were in the mid upper 80s lately, and now we're kind of cooling down to 70, so or low mid 70s. So it's just absolutely beautiful here. No complaints.
Yeah, nice.
You all have had kind of a cold
oh yeah,
cold winter this year.
Yeah, cold winter and a lot of snow. Snow started in early this year, started in November, where I am north of Toronto, and That was early for snow. I mean, we've had Christmases with still no snow on the ground. So we've had snow on the ground for a month more than usual, and there is still a lot of snow down on the ground. But another week or two, and I think it'll all be melted because as of tomorrow, the days are all from the next 14 days are all above freezing. So yeah, different world, man. It's cold here.
I remember I was originally from the Detroit metro area,
Oh yeah.
so
Well,
yeah,
Detroit
it's
can be is often worse than here,
yeah,
just because of the lakes. Oh
yeah.
yeah, and you've got family around Newmarket, right?
Yeah. One cousin that lives in Newmarket. I think the other one lives in Toronto.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's been so long, but I think he lives. Is it called Bloom? The Bloom line? That ring a bell?
Bloor?
Bloor, yeah, I think Bloor.
Bloor
Yeah,
is a major road in Toronto.
yeah. I remember he lived kind of near that because I would take public transport, and that was the line I would jump on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, Spy, very see it made a new low, but did not break out. So definitely an interesting area right here. Same thing with Qs, right? Making new lows. Let's look at the book on Spy. 671.51 is the low. AMD approaching the bottom of the range. So Spy is broken down below that range. Broke out below 671. Again, not with a massive candle, not with a lot of volume. I don't think people are panic selling at this area. We're not seeing the same thing on Qs. So that was a bearish 5-minute candle. And now we are breaking the low of that candle. A trade on PLTR is approaching S6. That was a Tesla range that I wanted to start looking at. I want to see if there is buying that comes into Tesla. You would have to show me a lot of buying at this point, but PLTR, that trade, that trendy kangaroo trade, actually the kangaroo tail at the top here does not fit my criteria, but a short at the top here would have worked really well. Huge approaching pre-market low. Still no quick violent moves. NVIDIA 177.99. What do we do at 178 here? There's a lot of orders here. Let me do a print screen here to slow this down. A lot of orders at 178 and all the way down. So the book is very, very heavy on the bid, which means that there are a lot of orders down there. So we might go down and get those. There's 178 printing. Right, this is what I try to show my students, the imbalance in the book here. We're seeing a lot of orders down here and nothing, or at least no large size orders on the ask.
Below alert.
That was my alert on Tesla. I had it on TradingView as well as DOS. This is a very higher time frame low on Tesla. Oh no, it's a little bit lower than this. Right, so right around here, 387.55. Want to see, do we take out liquidity here? I'm actually looking at this level for another strategy. I'll be looking at this later on today.
Yeah, this level on SPY around 670. I'm looking like on the 4-hour chart and going back to November 4th and December 17th.
Yeah.
Kind of a critical area because
Yeah.
if it holds here, it holds, but if it doesn't, it definitely has room to the downside to 650 in my opinion. And that would be 650 kind of aligns on the daily chart. I think that's the simple move, the SMA 200. So I see no reason if we lose this level, I see no reason why they're not going to take it down to around 655 on the daily chart, the SMA 200. That might be a good bounce there.
Yeah.
Or they flush it below.
Yeah, what happens here is very interesting. There's all my alerts happening on Tesla. I guess I had yeah, so it has made a new low here. SPY, go back to the 5. So what I'm looking at on SPY now, and I'm going to be heading off in 4 or 5 minutes. So a couple of possibilities is a climb back up to the S6 area, which is the low of pre-market, and then selling, right? So short from this area for the breakdown and the retest of the edge of that rectangle. Or if we saw a spike down and then a lot of buying. But again, I'm not a fan of buying below S6. So of where it is right now, I don't feel it, especially with the market being as red and as low as it is. I mean, a lot of things here are down 9%, 3, 2, 2, 9% again, 5% on AMD.
Wow, we just had a look at my kind of like long-term portfolio. Holy smokes, is it down today?
Something else that I often preach is not to look at it, right? If it's long term, I won't look at mine. I won't look at mine unless there's some, we hit a level and we start buying, then I might add into it. But long term for me means 10, 15, 20 years. So these pullbacks don't affect me at all. But yeah, it is interesting to see when those numbers, actually I took profit out in some of my long term a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, just because I mean the markets had 2025 was such a bull market, up 17%. So it's a good place to take a little bit of profit.
Yeah, I'm sitting on mine, but I'm looking, definitely the SMA 200 in the daily level. If it goes there, yeah, I'm going to scoop up some more on sale.
That's the thing. It's it's on sale. Long term, chances are it's going to keep going up, right?
Yeah.
Longer term.
Yeah, I'm looking at like a 10-year horizon. So for me, yeah, no big.
Yeah. Same with me. It's usually when I teach long term, I say it's 15, 20, 25 years. But for me, in my position, 10 years. Yeah, 10 years, and then there's going to be some rebalancing. So Qs is definitely at an interesting level. Pre-market low. Yeah, this didn't fit my pattern to my strategy to short SPY at the open, but obviously would have worked. Same thing with PLTR. What does that PLTR trade look like now? There you go, and hit profit, hit 3R. Right, so there you go. I'd hit it right there. So that would have been a 3R trade right there, just on this trendy kangaroo, right? With the confirmation of this massive volume candle with no movement here. So that's definitely an anomaly. Yeah, that would have been a good trade to take. Tesla, I'm talking about long term. I like the idea of Tesla at this level. Right, or even right around here. What is that level? 382.92. Are we going to come and touch this level? I was looking at here, getting involved for long term. And long term, I mean 5 to 10 years. It'll depend on what happens over the next few days. Are we going to come and take these the liquidity below 383? Yeah, interesting.
Would that be kind of a long-term swing for you, or are you saying
Yeah,
longer than months and years?
yeah, I'm thinking months, years, thinking about a leap, um, an options trade. Not quite sure. I don't usually get involved. As long-term portfolio for me is ETFs, spine cues. Yeah, look at that buying right now. Let's look at this for the fun of it. Right. Are we just capturing over here a lot of people trying to go long? Or this is definitely what I was saying earlier, a break and retest. But this is a very massive candle here. Are we on the 5? Yeah. Back to SPY. 672. I want to see what it does at 672. Then I'm going to bring up the 1 minute. There you go. So I'm going to stay on for a few minutes because this is shaping up as a breakout of this rectangle. It broke down, retesting. I'd like the retest not to happen on one 5-minute candle because it's hard to short on a very bullish candle, but we're seeing it across the board. Buying, right? Have we broken the IB? No, that is the 1030 candle. So the initial balance rectangle, let's put that in. So there's our initial balance. Let's go from there to there. So that's the first hour's range. When we break the low, I don't know the exact stat, by the way, but when we break the low of the initial balance, the chances of it going back to the highs are very unlikely. But when we don't break the low, it is absolutely possible to go back to the highs. It's possible either way, but I'm just talking about like the likelihood of it making it back. Once we've broken the low, and this is from stats from Edgeful. Actually, I had it written down somewhere. Maybe I'll bring it up tomorrow and I'll share it. But very interesting stats on the IB, on the initial balance area. I want to see if it can print at 672. If it does, I'm curious to see here. I've got the puts on my screen just for the possibility of it making new lows. See, this was the breakdown. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So this was the breakdown of the area. And down here, be curious to see if it can just pop up above 272 and then possibly make new lows, or maybe the retest already happened.
What's interesting is on the SPY volume is kind of like the biggest buying volume since the second 5-minute candle. So
Do you have similar volume? I don't have volume. Usually I don't print volume on here. But yeah, there you go. That's very interesting right here. What happens now?
and I use a sequence counter on my Thinkorswim charts, and the last 15-minute candle closed about 7 minutes ago on a 9 sequence out of 9. So these sequence counters, I find them, they're very useful to kind of help designate when trends potentially end. Yeah, right now on the 15-minute chart, we're kind of entering a sequence 1. So we'll see what happens within the next 8 minutes if I don't know, if we get a new sequence that gets initiated here.
Yeah, what is everything else doing? So we're moving up on AMD, Amazon, Google spiking up, but rejecting 299. Yeah, I don't trust the move. This looks like a break and retest to me, but see what happens.
For me, for any kind of reversal today, I'd want to see it kind of pop up a bit, maybe get rejected at VWAP, have a liquidity test there, come back down and form a higher low. Then I feel like, oh, that maybe there's potential long candidates. Do you know what I'm saying, Joe?
Yeah, yeah. See, this is a trendy kangaroo forming on NVIDIA now. So, right, if you think that that's a rejection candle right there. That's also a rejection candle. So the low of 177.62, if we break that low, it could be a flush. Could be. But is buying on SPY, buying on Qs. I want to see how this candle closes. Let's concentrate on SPY here. 70.80. There you go. Bullish candle. Somewhat indecision, but it is green. I'm going to be patient here. I'm sticking around a little bit longer because this is an interesting level. And do we spike up above 672.23? But then do we trap buyers here? Or is it a true reversal?
Yeah, things are looking pretty interesting, but I feel like I think I don't know for my setup, I need another probably 15 minutes. I'm seeing in a couple of tickers a little bit of a pop up along with the SPY and the Qs. Then I want to see it kind of curl back down, but hold, form a higher low, and then maybe that would be a long consideration. Like I'm looking at RCAD and SoFi, pretty similar patterns, and it's time to get some breakfast. Gilles, great seeing you.
Yeah, nice talking to you. I'm going to head out as well. And if anything happens with this SPY trade, then I'll share it tomorrow morning. It's nice talking to you. Thanks for jumping on the call.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great listening to you as always. I always appreciate your insights and wisdom. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
See you later.
See you later, everyone.